up on the landing. He may have to settle for the bronze.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
No, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Captain gives orders on the ship.
The captain of the ship is giving orders.
My ship makes me captain.
They be my charts.
That makes you Chartman.
Hello everyone, welcome to Settle for the Bronze. This is A-Red-007.
This is Cyclops.
And this week, Cyclops, what movie are we discussing?
We are discussing Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
Yes, that is part 3 for those of you who don't like subtitles and just like the number. Alright, Cyclops, our scorekeeper. We're going to go ahead and get through this quick. Where are the scores?
This movie has a 7.1 on IMDb, a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes for the critics meter, and a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes for the audience meter.
Okay.
So it's obviously variation. I mean, it appears that for the casual viewer it sits around like a 70.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair. Do we want to go ahead and get into?
Yeah, go ahead and give your recommendation before we get into the full spoiler discussion.
Yes. I feel like that's a fair level. Maybe a little higher, somewhere like 75. Could be closer to 80. It's a very entertaining movie that you. I feel like you probably have more problems with this than I do.
Which is weird, because I think I like it more.
Maybe.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. But, yeah, I generally enjoy it. It's
compared to the other Pirates movies, where does it range? Like, where does it fall?
I feel like it's hard, because there is some really good payoff for some of the characters in the first two. And this one, and that kind of, like, the end. I feel like a lot of the ending really raises this one up. But I don't know that I would necessarily put it. I feel like I could put it above the second one without too much, feeling too bad about it. But
yeah.
the first one, not so much.
See, I'm not sure if I'm of two minds about it, because before going into this, I would have said this was better than the first one. Mm. This is actually my favorite. But after watching it and, pointing out some of the problems and everything, first one's probably objectively better, but I like this one more because I think this one has a lot of entertainment value.
To be fair, it has been a while since I've seen the first one, so I can't fully rate that. But.
Plus, this movie's ridiculously long. But anyway, my recommendation would be, if you want to go back and watch it, go for the entertainment value of it. Don't go for the plot, because
it's not a masterpiece.
It's convoluted. It's overly complicated. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about that. Just enjoy the characters, enjoy the setting, enjoy the excellent action sequences, enjoy the comedy. Just have a good time.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. I guess, where do we want to go from here?
All right. Highway to the spoiler zone.
Yes, full-on spoilers from here on in.
I don't know. What would you say is... I mean, you mentioned the convoluted plot, and I think that is probably the first thing you want to point to about this movie, the biggest issue.
Yeah, because you get like halfway through the movie and it's like, okay, this person made this deal with this person, but why? And there's so many motivations and so many characters that are interwoven.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's fun because every character feels like they're important. Every character feels like they have a purpose that they're going for. Which is something
most of them.
Yes,
I will say most of them.
Okay. But which is something that, a lot of films these days could learn from.
Yeah.
However, it does feel like it does this to the point of
being bloated,
being unnecessary, and going too far with it.
Yeah, I think there's too many characters. I mean, you're building on top of two previous movies. You've got characters coming back. You got new characters. At some point, you gotta be like, okay, there's just too much going on. We gotta take some of it out.
I can read that. Especially, it's not. I mean, like I feel like it would work better in a serious movie. Like, I feel like the way the characters are portrayed and everything, you would be able to pull that off. Like, they're heading in the right direction, but because the movie always maintains this lightheartedness to it, it's never.
Except for some really dark parts.
Yeah, it's hard for you to really buy into it.
I mean, the movie starts with a kid and a whole bunch of people getting hung. Which is great.
That's fun. Yeah.
Younglings. My problem with the convoluted plot is, it's not really convoluted. It's just there's a lot of moving pieces.
It does seem it seems to hold up under scrutiny, for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. There's some stuff where it's like, wait, why did they do that?
Yeah.
But they should have done this first. But then it ends up happening later. Whatever. My problem is there's not a whole lot of payoff plot-wise. There's a lot of payoff character-wise.
It kind of feels like they build up all these plots, and then they converge somewhere around halfway, and then they all just kind of ripple around for a while, and as they try and figure out where they're supposed to be for the big finale. And then the big finale happens, by the time the finale runs around, it's everything's pretty much straightforward.
Everything's very simple once you get to that battle.
So there's not a... It's the character payoffs in the final battle that matter.
Yeah.
Which were set up by the plot, but it probably could have been done more efficiently.
Yeah.
And I will say, I mentioned that they're trying to do this, and it doesn't really work because of the lighthearted tone. The tone is a lot better than what we've seen in some of the other movies we've reviewed.
It's very well balanced.
It's consistent.
Yeah.
It stays solidly within the realm of like kind of dark humor and you know, it's the humor is not like people joking around so much as situational humor and
of course Jack Sparrow has to have like his witty one-liners and stuff.
But even then, it's not like they're necessarily cracking jokes. It's so much as these characters are wacky and messed up, and they're being wacky and messed up together. It's fun to watch because of that.
I have one problem with that argument.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Sparrow's hallucinations are a bit much for me.
And we were talking about this, and I think the problem with them, to me, is the
specifically when he's in Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah. Well, and it does happen a few other times, but
yeah, like he's got. It's almost like the devil and the angel on his shoulder, but it's just two of him, and they actually show them hanging on his hair, his dreadlocks.
There's some bizarre stuff in there, and it that kind of feels weird because all these other characters are so intertwined.
Yeah.
And then all the stuff with him seems to feel kind of like he interacts with the characters obviously, but for the most part it feels kind of like he's bouncing alongside the plot.
Yeah.
And just like he hits every now and then, but most of the time he's just floating off doing his own thing.
Yeah, it never feels like he's fully a part of the plot. He's just bouncing from one point to the next.
Yeah. He shows up there for a second, and I mean he is well developed and he has motivations.
He
and
actually has an
crazy.
arc.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. But it still generally works for me because it's still in the vein of this isn't so much just complete. He's having hallucinations that are weird because he's going crazy. So again, it goes back to most of the humor in this at least is dark, and you know it's not. They're not trying to just completely throw off the movie to get a few laughs. Like they're staying well within the range they've set for themselves.
Yeah, I think the tone's well balanced for the most part. The reason the hallucinations don't bother me to the point of like being detrimental to the movie is because they're still funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's Johnny Depp.
Like with the weird crabs, and they're dragging the ship along to the beach, which I thought was a weird plot hole because I'm like, why is that happening? But that ended up being cleared up because Tia Dalma was guiding them.
Yeah.
Because she's Calypso.
Again, the plot seems to hold up if you really pay close attention.
Yeah, I know.
But like if you really like analyze every single detail and character motivation, but it doesn't feel like you should have to do that, and it also feels like you have to do that way too much for a movie based on off a theme park. Right?
Yes, that's my main problem.
So it's
like through the first, I don't know, hour and a half of the movie, I'm constantly going, wait, why are they doing that? Who are they doing that?
And by the time you figure out why they did it, you're like, wait, I need to figure out why they did this thing earlier in order to make sure that that's why they did that. And then by that point, you've kind of lost it. It's strange. There's like it's clever, but it doesn't highlight how clever it is at points, and so you don't really there's no real reason for it to be that clever. Yeah, like the way certain characters work.
Yeah, it feels like the screenwriters were trying too hard to make it complicated.
Yeah. And I remember watching this the first time back when way back like back when I was in theaters. What was this movie?
2007.
Yeah. And I think I saw it for like my birthday party or something like that, and I can remember going to see that and not picking up on so much of the movie. Like we just watched it when we just watched it for this. The part where they give Keira Knightley's character
Elizabeth.
I can only ever seem to remember a character name or an actor name, not both.
Yeah.
Anyway, her character is given to Sao Feng, the pirate pirate lord they introduce or whatever. I guess he's not a pirate lord, but the pirate they introduce.
Yeah, he's one of the pirate lords.
He is? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because okay. That makes sense. But they give her off or he wants her and he takes her, and I could remember that part in the movie, but I totally didn't remember why it happened. And then there's a line where that scene happens where it's like, oh, he thinks she's Calypso.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense, but I totally did not catch that at all. The first
Really?
I mean, it's that is an obvious point if you actually are paying any attention. But I'm saying this movie was designed, you would think, mostly for kids.
But it's not.
But it's not. There's so much stuff like that you just would not pick up on.
Well, I think just based on the ending, I don't think kids would like this movie.
Yeah. The ending is...
Will gets stabbed, and he becomes the new captain of the Flying Dutchman, and he can't see Elizabeth for 10 years.
The ending is monogamy. It's. I mean, and watching it now, I'm like, oh, I actually like that a lot. It's heartfelt, and it develops, all the characters come to this. There's even some foreshadowing where people, or not even foreshadowing necessarily, but people kind of, it's kind of a twist because people are or mentioned earlier in the movie that he can't have her and save his father.
Tia Dalma's constantly saying stuff to him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if you want to do this, it comes with a great cost.
Well, not even that, but
Ooh.
there's specifically one line where his dad says he can't save him and have Elizabeth.
Yeah. But
he does. I mean, it's a price, he has to wait, which you have a problem with because they don't establish how that works and how long he has to wait. And
yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, okay. but and it's interesting now. I go ahead and jump off a tangent there. We've only been discussing the plot right now. There's not much else wrong with the movie. The acting, most of the acting is fine, and
I would say all the acting's fine.
Yeah, it varies from fine to great.
Yeah. Obviously,
a lot of the writing
Orlando Bloom's not anything spectacular, but he's doing fine.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp's being Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. I think Barbossa's the best character in the movie.
Probably the best character in the movie. Yeah.
He gets the best lines.
There was that is the only. That's really the only dialogue and or. I mean, just a general problem I have with the movie that's not a plot related problem, is you pointed out that you don't like Keira Knightley when she gives her speech.
She gives the big epic speech to try and inspire the pirates after Calypso has seemingly failed them and they're about to go into the big battle, and she's doing this speech to inspire them, and I find it cringe-inducing.
See, I don't think it's bad. I don't have a problem with her doing it. I think because of the way that this story is set up, she's telling it in this very serious, or she's giving the speech in a very serious way, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, for her character to be saying. I mean, I don't know. There's something off about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with her performance. I know you do. You
I don't know, some of it sounds weird to me. It just doesn't sound right.
But I mentioned that it
what do I know?
I think it would have been great and would have been a little more character fulfilling if Barbossa had given that, because then he could have kind of thrown in his pirate colloquialisms and because he has all sorts of weird stuff. I can't even remember any right now, but throughout the movie.
Cack-headed deck apes? Isn't that one thing he says?
Yeah.
He has some of the weirdest lines, but they're all great.
And he could have thrown stuff out there and it would have made sense, and it's Barbossa's finally, he gets to command people and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I would have liked that.
Okay. For me, other than the convoluted plot, which ends up being fine about 3/4 of the way through the movie, that ends up not being a problem. My second biggest problem, I guess, would be Calypso.
Mm-hmm.
Total waste of time.
I agree. Again, it's complicating the plot without really needing to complicate the plot, because she creates the maelstrom at the end that they get caught in. It's a very epic battle, and I like that. However, I don't understand. I don't understand why it was crabs. I guess it makes the most sense for the crabs to carry because fish couldn't carry Jack's
it's
ship.
a metaphor for STDs.
Apparently.
Davy Jones got crabs.
Probably. That makes sense.
No, that's why after she turns into that swarm of crabs and they jump off the Black Pearl, that's why one of the pirates, the one with the wooden eye, he's pulling a crab out of his pants. It's a metaphor.
It's obviously a metaphor.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's definitely what they were putting in children. I mean...
this movie's not for kids.
Yeah.
It's definitely not for kids. But neither is the second one. And I probably would argue that the first one's not either.
I'm pretty sure I fell asleep the very first time I watched the first one.
Wow.
Because I was like, how long ago did that come out?
2003?
Yeah. My parents were like, yeah, let's watch this. And I was like, okay.
I loved it.
I mean,
I
I
loved
remember enjoying some of what I saw of it, but I just kind of like fell asleep because it was.
But
Because
anyways,
it had pacing, I guess. I don't know.
it had a story,
Yeah.
character. Anyway,
Ridiculous.
back to Calypso.
This Hollywood ruining my movies with story. What are they?
Michael Bay, you're my hero. But getting back to Calypso, I just don't see the point to having this huge supernatural goddess thing being a part of it.
I agree. I don't understand why it couldn't have just been. She's like, I don't know, make her immortal or something like that. And,
No.
She's just
I would just
because she's good for. It's an interesting development for Davy Jones and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
he got friend zoned and that's all cool and stuff. But like I don't know. I agree where it feels like they build her up too much and then it's just kind of like, and even one of the it's either Rigetti, maybe, I don't know. He right after she turns into crabs and falls into the ocean, he looks over the side and says like, well, she was useless or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have to wonder if they were doing that on like to voice the audience's concerns. I don't know. But,
Well, the way I would have done it, because her character Tia Dalma, I guess the human form of her, is in the second movie.
Yeah.
And she resurrects Barbossa for them.
Yeah.
Have that be the end. We never see her again.
I disagree with that though, because I do really like the way that she helps develop Davy Jones' plotline, and that's.
But here's the thing: I feel like you could just have him talk about a love that he had.
Yeah, but I mean, I follow what you're saying. But
I feel like it's unnecessary. That's all
I
I'm
think
saying.
it's helpful for him. I don't know that it necessarily had to be Tia Dalma, and I don't know that they had to make her go really big and then turn into a crab. And the whole thing about the have to talk to her like a lover to free her, and the weird stuff.
And she gets giant, and then she speaks a bunch of weird incantations, and then turns into crabs. It's so
how
weird.
awesome would it have been if she like? I don't know. This another problem I think both of us have with the movie, and I think a lot of people have with the movie, is the fact that the big epic ship battle is between the Dutchman and the Pearl, and they go into a whirlpool, and they're the only ones fighting.
Oh, that
And
pisses me off to no end.
There's fleets of ships
Like,
just sitting
like
there
all
on
the
each
pirates,
side.
all the pirate lords, they amass their ships. Everyone is like, hoist the colors,
Yeah,
lift up the
yeah.
flags. Oh, the Black Pearl's the only one going in.
Yeah, yeah.
No, and that's why I think Calypso's a waste of space.
Because
Get rid of them.
That's what I was about to say. Is that the reason I brought that up is because it would have been great to see like the two ships clash, or the two fleets clash, and like Calypso maybe like, I don't know, like she turns big and then she like jumps into the water or something like that. And then if they're gonna go that route, and whatever, and then and then have her like jump out and she starts like smashing some of the like just ships left and right trying to get to the Dutchman's ship. Something epic where she's like this she stays a giant monster and it's just like, holy crap, this is terrifying, what's happening? And she's going for something with her that's not just creating a storm.
See, I'm thinking budget-wise here.
Yeah, I agree.
Take away the Maelstrom budget, get rid of Calypso, and just put all the budget into the ship fleet versus ship fleet battle. That's all I needed.
See, the thing is, I agree with that, but I also think that would not be nearly as much, but like that wouldn't cost them nearly as much, because we already see so much of that I feel like they could just film like 3 or 4 battles and then have like just jump around so that it looks like it's happening across. I feel like that would not be that much of a budget problem, and so I feel like they could do something more with it. But because they'd only have to CGI, like they just have to CGI a bunch of ships, and that's.
I guess.
So I feel like they could do stuff like that, but they don't, and it's weird.
Once it gets into the battle, forgetting about the Calypso stuff, once
Yes.
it gets into the battle, it is a very cool battle to
Oh yeah,
watch.
the entire
It
final
is
battle
so entertaining.
is awesome, and I also one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when they, after the battle where the Dutchman sinks and then the British ship comes up and then the Dutchman they're about to like take on the Black Pearl, and then the Flying Dutchman pops up and he's like, oh, he survived or she survived, and then they both go across and just like broadside her, and he's like, oh crap.
Oh yeah, Lord Beck is just like,
yeah.
oh, I lost, I guess.
And-
And then he's walking down the stairs in slow motion, and
And
everything's blowing up around
it's
him.
It's just good business, and the people, the crew is like, "Oh, the crap! He lost his mind! God dang it!" And I doubt any of them survive. And like, it's great. It's so great. I'd say from that point on, it's great. Even though you do get another view of the fleets that could have been fighting, but
Yeah.
oh well.
I guess one of the more controversial things about this movie would be the ending.
How he leaves her and
How he has to leave her. How Will
yeah.
Will is bound to the Dutchman and has to do I can spend a day with you on land and I have to go away for 10 years and I can come back. My question is, because I've done a little bit of research on this, and I've got differing accounts
Because I
here.
feel like they don't address it well enough in the movie for
Yeah.
it to be
Okay,
known one
so
way
he
or the
spends
other.
a day with her on land.
And that's when they have a child, apparently, like conceive.
What else are you gonna do? You're gonna
it's
be
fair.
away for 10 years.
He doesn't
And
have to worry about
you
child
got-
support.
you got-
He'll be gone, you
You
know?
got Keira Knightley. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
But he goes away for 10 years. When he comes back, is he still bound to the Dutchman? Because based on what his dad says, it makes it seem like, oh, you're stuck to the Dutchman forever unless someone stabs your heart.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've heard accounts that say if Will's lover,
yeah.
in this case Elizabeth, if the Flying Dutchman's captain, if their lover is still waiting for them when they come back after those 10 years, the curse is lifted. They don't have to do it anymore. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's
Which
true
would
or
make
not.
sense because that would explain why Davy Jones is so like butthurt about Calypso not being there when he
Yeah,
gets
because
back.
Calypso didn't wait for him, and then he's like, I'm not ferrying dead souls
Yeah.
anymore. I don't care.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that gives credence to that, but there's no confirmation. On
They don't
either
go either way,
side.
which is it's a pretty big thing because then it's like he shows up back in at the end credits of the movie when
Yeah, the after credit scene is Will
Elizabeth
showing
is
up.
there with their son and,
Yeah.
and he shows back up and it's like, oh, you know, it's awesome. But it's kind of like, okay, is he back for another day? Is he going to be back for... I feel like... Was there not a mention of that in the second movie at some point, and a clarification of that?
Ooh, I don't know.
Maybe. We may have to go back and
Correct us in the comments if you care enough to correct us in the comments.
Like and subscribe if you're a scholar on the mythics behind Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3. I don't know. Everything sucks.
I'm fine with the ending.
Mhm.
Like,
I agree.
I kind of respect that they wanted to go with a more tragic, flawed ending.
It's tragic,
Well,
but
it's not a flawed ending. That's not
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
it's tragic, but it's not. I mean, I think it's great. Actually,
Yeah.
I have no problem with it. I feel like it's nuanced. They don't just completely say, oh, they're happy now, or oh, they're sad now. Like there's pluses and minuses.
And then you go to Jack Sparrow, and he's got the map, and he's looking for...
The ending is great.
And he's
in that
looking for
regard,
the Fountain of Youth, which is probably screwed up in the fourth movie, but we're not talking about that one.
Uh-huh.
I love the ending to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Minus that ambiguous, I don't know the full logic of that.
Yeah.
I love the ending. So, what else is there? The fight scenes we've already said. Spectacular, particularly the end battle.
End
Ship
battle
to
is
ship.
great because the end battle is great because there's character development going on during a fight scene. It's great. Like Will and Elizabeth get married by Barbossa.
That
and
scene is excellent.
It's the greatest thing. Oh, it's so awesome. It might be the best thing to come out of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
You think so?
I don't know. It's great. It's such a great I don't know.
They shoot the little
it's
monkey.
it's such great heck yeah
They shoot the little monkey through a cannon, and it's great.
and it attacks Hammerhead dude and
He's like, "Thank you, Jack."
Yeah.
There's so many callbacks and references to the
that
previous
aren't,
movies.
and it's callbacks that aren't like, oh look, it's a callback, guys, it's a callback.
I don't feel the need to roll my eyes.
Yeah.
Like when
It's just a little lines,
like when they're in the meeting with the pirate lords, and Captain Teague shows up, and the dog from the first movie, who's somehow the last time we saw him, he was with the cannibals.
And there's literally a throwaway line where they're like Pinto and Rigetti are like what? And
Captain Teague just goes, "Sea turtles, mate."
it's hilarious,
But that's one thing that kind of bothers me. It's like they're going for this super complicated, dense plot,
But the thing.
but then they're like, "Yeah, this doesn't make sense. We're just going to do it."
The reason it doesn't give me a problem though is because the super complicated dense plot is still about characters that are as wacky as dogs being made cannibal kings. Like it's all the characters are wacky, yet they feel more or less real.
I suppose that's true.
So I mean, even though the plot's complicated, at least the characters aren't acting out of place in order to make it happen. I don't know.
Now, obviously, you know, we've been over this overcomplicated plot. Should the film be shorter?
Probably.
But here's the
film
thing.
should either...
The screenplay in its current state, or the story as it stands, you can't really take pieces out, because then it's the domino effect. Everything starts getting screwed up. I think it all goes back to the script. They should have just taken some plot lines out. Just simplified it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit.
The only thing I could have seen them doing...
I mean, the movie's almost 3 hours.
I was about to say, I literally don't think you could make it shorter. I think the only way you'd be able to fix and kind of get the plot room to breathe would be to literally do the Hollywood favorite of making another movie and splitting it up again and having this one be the middle movie of like the trilogy of 2 and 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And then having, I don't know where you would end the middle one, but I was thinking about this when I was watching it. I think that's the only way you could really fix it in that regards and make it give their time for stuff to kind of develop and for you to figure out where these things came from and are going.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the best I can give on how they would be able to fix it. Because I do like all the plot lines that are in it for the most part.
Yeah. For me, other than the Calypso part, which I think is a huge waste of time, I think everything else is...
Well, see, but that's what I'm saying, is I like the Calypso part, too, and I feel like it's important to a lot of characters.
It's not... I wouldn't say it's bad. I would just say I'm not a huge fan of it.
I think that's also because they realized they were getting about 3 hours, and they were like, oh, crap, so what do we do now?
Yeah.
So...
But if you took out the Calypso stuff, you would give more time to... Because when it comes to, like, Will and Elizabeth's relationship, I don't feel like they get an arc. Because they spend, like, the first half of the movie going, I don't trust you. Oh, I don't trust you. Why are we keeping secrets from each other? And it's like, oh, they got over it. Let's get married.
I agree, but it's also... There's such... through the entire series, there's such, like, off-the-wall characters that... Like, not off the wall as in their actions. They're very impulsive and like...
They're teenagers.
Which is why the wedding scene is so great, because they're literally in the middle of a fight and they're just like, yeah, let's do it! And like, suddenly, I mean...
And 5 minutes later, he gets stabbed in the heart by the sword that he made in the first movie.
And that's great. I would never have caught that, and that's an awesome thing. You want to explain that if anybody did?
Oh yeah, in the first movie... Will makes the sword for Norrington, and Norrington ends up, you know, he becomes an outcast, but he ends up joining the British forces again, and he gets that sword back, and then Will's dad kills Norrington, and Davy Jones gets Norrington's sword, and then he ends up stabbing Will with it. So
the sword follows through the series, which is great.
Yeah,
and then ends up killing its maker, and it's good stuff.
Yeah, well, along with the whole thing with Will's knife that he gets from his dad. That's like a little mini... Yeah. It's almost like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Pretty much.
Same movie. If you liked that movie, watch this movie.
I don't even know anything about that.
Right.
It sounded good at the time. I think that's the signal that we've given up, or we've run out of ideas of what to talk about.
Yeah, pretty much.
So overall, it's another movie we like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't understand why critics hate it so much. Maybe they were just tired of pirates at this point.
Maybe. But the payoff is so great, and there's so much... There's nothing... Like, even though it slows down a little bit in the middle, I feel like after they kind of, like, figure out where the plot... and untangle the plot lines a little bit...
Yeah.
It's still...
It picks up.
Yeah, and it
picks up.
And it's still really entertaining the whole way through.
Yeah.
Like, because just watching these characters interact is just great to see. Like, because they're also... The way they're made, and even, like, the characters who are just ridiculous completely are fun to watch, and they know how far to push actions without them just being like, oh, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Like...
Constant face palms.
Yeah. So...
It's got great entertainment value.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, the score.
And yes, this is...
What's the guy who did the first
Leaving
one?
on a good note?
Yes. Klaus Bedell, he's the one who did the first one? Okay, I like the main theme from that. I don't like a whole lot else of his score, but then Hans Zimmer took over for the sequels. I think this is the best version of the Pirates of the Caribbean theme music. Mm-hmm. And I love the love theme that he makes with Elizabeth and Will. That's very nice, and it's very emotional, and I like listening to it. So yeah. Score is excellent.
Also a lot of characters. It's something that Lord of the Rings does similarly, where a lot of the characters... and feel like they have their own motifs.
Yeah.
which is I think that's always a good route to go with scores is kind of making sure that every character, when like especially Jack, I notice with him, like whenever he shows up, a certain theme plays, and you know.
I think that's also from the first movie. But
yeah,
whatever.
But I'm just saying in general, like regardless of where it came from, the score is great.
Yeah. So yeah, we both highly recommend the movie. Well, not highly recommend it, but we recommend it.
Yeah.
It's a fun time if you're willing to waste 3 hours on a movie.
Yeah.
And this is a few years before everyone was getting tired of Johnny Depp playing goofy, wacky characters.
Yeah. And
his movies started to bomb, but whatever. Are you looking forward to Pirates of the Caribbean 5 whenever that comes out?
I've seen like half of 4. I don't even.
It's not horrible.
I feel like the Will and Elizabeth plotline kind of was the real heart of the movies. While I mean, obviously, Jack Sparrow is important to them, but I don't know. I feel like without them, they kind of lost their way a bit.
Yeah, it's very obvious that that's a missing chunk for the fourth movie. But whatever. All right, that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. And now we're not talking about that. All right, Tyclops, what are we talking about next time? You got to pull out that phone again. You got to be ready.
I can't take judgment, okay? Oh God, it's here, I promise. It's Iron Man 2.
Okay, yeah. Right around the time that Avengers 2 comes out, right?
Should be
around that time. Okay. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. We'll be discussing Iron Man 2. Probably, I don't know, is that the most hated of any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies overall? Most
Possibly.
hated is strong.
I think
most disliked.
I think it might be Thor 2, which we will also get to.
Yeah. 2, bada bing. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.
I should work for Hollywood.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Issue.
Yeah, because you get like halfway through the movie and it's like, okay, this person made this deal with this person, but why? And there's so many motivations and so many characters that are interwoven.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's fun because every character feels like they're important. Every character feels like they have a purpose that they're going for. Which is something
most of them.
Yes,
I will say most of them.
Okay. But which is something that, a lot of films these days could learn from.
Yeah.
However, it does feel like it does this to the point of
being bloated,
being unnecessary, and going too far with it.
Yeah, I think there's too many characters. I mean, you're building on top of 2 previous movies. You've got characters coming back. You got new characters. At some point, you gotta be like, okay, there's just too much going on. We gotta take some of it out.
I can agree with that. Especially, it's not. I mean, like I actually. I feel like it would work better in a serious movie. Like I feel like the way the characters are portrayed and everything, you would be able to pull that off. Like they're heading in the right direction, but because the movie.
See, I'm not sure if I'm of 2 minds about it because before going into this, I would have said this was better than the first one. Mm-hmm. This is actually my favorite, but after watching it and pointing out some of the problems and everything. First one's probably objectively better, but I like this one more because I think this one has a lot of entertainment value.
To be fair, it has been a while since I've seen the first one, so I can't fully rate that. But.
Plus, this movie's ridiculously long. But anyway, my recommendation would be, if you want to go back and watch it, go for the entertainment value of it. Don't go for the plot because
it's not a masterpiece.
It's convoluted. It's overly complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about that. Just enjoy the characters, enjoy the setting, enjoy the excellent action sequences, enjoy the comedy. Just have a good time.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
Yeah. I guess, where do we want to go from here?
All right. Highway to the spoiler zone.
Yes, full on spoilers from here on in.
I don't know. What would you say is? I mean, you mentioned the convoluted plot, and I think that is probably the first thing you want to point to about this movie. The biggest. We always maintains this lightheartedness to it. It's never.
Except for some really dark parts.
It's hard for you to really buy into it.
I mean, the movie starts with a kid and a whole bunch of people getting hung.
that's
which is great.
That's fun. Yeah.
Younglings. My problem with the convoluted plot is, it's not really convoluted. It's just there's a lot of moving pieces.
It does seem it seems to hold up under scrutiny, for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. There's some stuff where it's like, wait, why did they do that?
Yeah.
But they should have done this first. But then it ends up happening later. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is there's not a whole lot of payoff plot-wise. There's a lot of payoff character-wise.
It kind of feels like they build up all these plots, and then they converge somewhere around halfway, and then they all just kind of ripple around for a while, and as they try and figure out where they're supposed to be for the big finale. And then the big finale happens, by the time the finale runs around, it's everything's pretty much straightforward.
Everything's very simple once you get to that battle.
So there's not a... It's the character payoffs in the final battle that matter.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. Do we want to go ahead and get into...
Yeah, go ahead and give your recommendation before we get into the full spoiler discussion.
Yes. I feel like that's a fair level. Maybe a little higher, somewhere like 75. Could be closer to 80. It's a very entertaining movie that I feel like you probably have more problems with this than I do.
Which is weird because I think I like it more.
Maybe
that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, but yeah, I generally enjoy it. It's
compared to the other Pirates movies. Where does it range? Like, where does it fall?
I feel like it's hard because there is some really good payoff for some of the characters in the first two, and this one, and that kind of like the end. I feel like a lot of the ending really raises this one up, but I don't know that I would necessarily put it. I feel like I could put it above the second one without too much, feeling too bad about it. But
yeah.
the first one, not so much.
Ooh, nice form, but a little rough on the landing. He may have to settle for the bronze.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
No, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Captain gives orders on the ship.
The captain of the ship is giving orders.
My ship makes me captain.
They be my charts.
That makes you chart man.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Settle for the Bronze. This is ARA007.
This is Cyclops.
And this week, Cyclops, what movie are we discussing?
We are discussing Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
Yes, that is part 3 for those of you who don't like subtitles and just like the number. All right, Cyclops, our scorekeeper. We're going to go ahead and get through this quick. Where are the scores?
This movie has a 7.1 on IMDb, a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes for the critics meter, and a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes for the audience meter.
Okay.
So it's obviously variation. I mean, it appears that for the casual viewer it sits around like a 70.
Yeah.